If you do not find a wife in 30 days, I will disown your success. The noise had become a drone. He stood on the balcony of his penthouse, 40 stories above the hum of the world. In his hand was a glass of whiskey that cost more than a village school, but it tasted like ash. Obinna was 35, a billionaire 3 times over, and the most eligible bachelor in the country. Yet, every woman he met felt like a transaction. They looked at his wristwatches, not his eyes. They kissed his bank balance, not his lips. His mother, Lolo, sat in the leather armchair behind him, her wrappers rustling. "Obinna," she said, her voice like grinding stones. "A tree without roots falls in the first wind. You are building empires on sand. Go back to the village of Omuwa. Find a girl whose feet know the earth, not the red carpet. Find a heart that hasn't been traded for data bundles." Obinna laughed, a bitter sound. "Mother, the village girls are just city girls who haven't caught a flight yet. They all want the same thing." "Not all," she whispered. "Some have souls as deep as the forest. If you do not find a wife in 30 days, I will disown your success." Obinna left the next morning. He traded his tailored suit for a simple linen shirt and his Ferrari for a rugged 4x4. He drove until the skyscraper shrank into baobab trees and the asphalt dissolved into the bleeding red dust of the east. Omuwa was a village frozen in time. As Obinna drove through the market square, the villagers parted like the Red Sea. But one person didn't move. She stood in the center of the road, draped in rags that might have once been a wedding lace. Her skin was coated in a fine layer of dust, yet she carried herself with the posture of a goddess. Her hair was a wild crown of tangled curls, pinned with rusted nails and dried flowers. She was dancing to a melody only she could hear. This was Zala. "Move, you mad woman," a market trader yelled, raising a cane. Obinna stepped out of the car. "Stop," he commanded. He looked at Zala. Her eyes were not dull like the town's drunkards. They were terrifyingly bright, swelling with a strange violet energy. When she looked at him, it felt like 1,000 needles pricked his skin. "The king of paper has arrived," Zala whispered, her voice a melodic rasp. "He brings gold to the land of spirits, but gold melts in the fire of the roots." She laughed, a sound like silver bells breaking, and skipped away into the bush. "Don't mind her, great one," the village head said, rushing to Obinna. "That is Zala. She was the most beautiful girl in 10 kingdoms, but 5 years ago she grew greedy. She wanted wealth that did not belong to humans. She traveled into the deep roots, the forbidden forest. She returned like this." That night in the guest house, Obinna couldn't sleep. The image of the mad queen burned in his mind. He asked the local seer to tell him the true story. "Zala did not just go mad," the seer whispered, throwing bones onto a mat. "She sought the altar of the 999. Deep in the forest, there's a place where the earth breathes. Zala made a pact. She asked for the power to attract all the wealth of the world. The spirits agreed, but they told her, a human mind is a small cup. You cannot pour the ocean into a cup without breaking it." The seer leaned in, his eyes wide. They gave her 999 spirits of ancient madness to guard her wealth. Each spirit is a power. The power to see the future, the power to rot crops, the power to command the wind. But they occupy her brain like a swarm of bees. She is trapped in a cage of 999 windows, and every window shows a nightmare. Obinna's oft. "Superstition. She's just mentally ill. I'll send for a doctor from the city." "The city cannot heal what the forest has claimed," the seer warned. A week passed. Obinna found no pure wife. The village girls clamored for his attention, smelling of cheap perfume and desperation. Only Zala ignored him. One evening, a storm broke that seemed to crack the sky. Obinna was driving back from a neighboring town when his SUV hit a sinkhole near the edge of the forbidden forest. The engine died. The rain was a solid wall of water. Through the deluge, he saw a flickering light. It was a small, leaning shack, Zala's home. He stumbled inside, soaked and shivering. Zala sat on the floor, surrounded by 999 small stones arranged in a perfect circle. For the first time, she looked sane. The rain seemed to drown out the whispers in her head. "You are cold, king of paper," she said softly. She stood up. In the shadows, her rags looked like silk again. The violet light in her eyes softened to a warm amber. Obinna felt a pull he couldn't explain, a magnetic spiritual hunger. He reached out to touch her face, expecting filth, but her skin felt like warm velvet. The spirits within her stirred. They saw in Obinna a vessel of immense worldly power. They wanted to bridge the gap between the forest and the city. In a night of thunder and supernatural haze, the billionaire and the madwoman became one. It wasn't a choice, it was a collision of two worlds. Obinna woke up the next morning. On the dirt floor, Zala was gone. He felt a heavy, oily sensation in his chest. When he finally got his car out and returned to the village, his phone, which had no signal for days, suddenly vibrated with 100 notifications. "Chief, come back immediately," his lawyer screamed over the line. "The government has frozen your accounts. A massive fire destroyed the main warehouse. Your partner has fled with the offshore funds. You are losing everything." Obinna tried to speak, but his voice came out as a rasp. He looked in the mirror. His eyes, they were beginning to flicker with a faint violet light. Misfortune followed him like a shadow. Every time he tried to leave the village, the road would vanish in a mist. His luxury watch shattered on his wrist. His fine shoes rotted off his feet. He was trapped. Weeks turned into months. The billionaire was now a beggar. He lived in a small hut, wearing a borrowed cloth. And then the news came. Zala was pregnant. The village was in an uproar. "A mad woman carrying a child. It is an abomination," they cried. They prepared to drive her into the forest to die. Obinna stood in the square, his body thin, his hands calloused from farming. "She is my wife," he roared. The villagers laughed. "Look at you, Obinna. You have no money, you have no shoes, you are as mad as she is." "I have more than I ever had," Obinna said, standing in front of Zala. He realized then that as his money vanished, his soul had grown. He didn't want the city anymore. He wanted the woman who carried his blood. The 9th month arrived under a blood-red moon. Zala's belly was unnaturally large, pulsing with a light that could be seen through her skin. The madness had reached a blood-red pitch. She screamed in 999 different voices, her body contorting as the spirits fought to stay inside. "The child is a portal," the seer shouted. "If the child is born in the village, then 999 spirits will inhabit every man, woman, and child here. You must take her back to the deep roots. The debt must be paid where it was signed." Obinna carried Zala in his arms. He walked miles into the darkness of the forbidden forest, his feet bleeding on the thorns. He reached the upside-down trees. As the labor intensified, the spirits began to exit Zala. They flew out of her mouth as black smoke and violet sparks. They swirled around Obinna, tempting him. "Take the wealth back," the spirits hissed. "We can give you the world again. Just leave the girl and the child. Sign the contract with your son's soul." Obinna looked at Zala. Her eyes were clearing. She was looking at him, truly looking at him for the first time. She reached out a trembling hand. "Save our son," she whispered. Obinna turned to the spirits. "I am a human. I choose the death. I choose the struggle. I choose my family." He grabbed a jagged branch and struck the altar of the 999. The stone shattered. A shockwave of golden light erupted. It collided with the violet smoke, neutralizing it. The spirits wailed as they were sucked back into the earth, their 999 powers neutralized by a single act of selfless love. Silence fell over the forest. The first cry of a baby broke the quiet. Obinna wrapped the child in his tattered shirt. He turned to Zala. She was pale, exhausted, but her eyes were a clear, beautiful brown. The madness was gone. The 999 whispers were silent. "Obinna," she asked, her voice steady. "I am here." They walked out of the forest as the sun rose, not as a billionaire and a madwoman, but as a man and a wife. In the city, Obinna's empire was gone. He was no longer on the cover of magazines, but in the village of Omuwa, he became a legend. He used the last of his hidden savings to build a farm that fed the entire region. He taught the villagers how to trade fairly, while Zala taught the children the stories of the forest, warnings against greed. They lived in a house made of stone and wood. On their porch, Obinna would often look at his hands, stained with soil, strong from work. He had gone to the village to find a good wife he could own like a trophy. Instead, he had found a queen who taught him how to be a king. The 999 powers of madness had been replaced by a single greater power, the power of a life truly lived. Thank you for staying with me till the end.